Hezbollah isn't just a risk to Israel. New intelligence warns the terror group could soon strike Americans. Defense experts agree Hezbollah has the ability to attack U.S. interests at home and abroad. National Security Correspondent Caitlin Burke reports.
According to new data gathered by U.S. intelligence agencies, the risk of an assault by Hezbollah is rising alongside growing tensions in the region.
Hezbollah is a very real threat to us here in the United States.
Simone Ledeen, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Mideast Policy, says the Iran-backed terror group has a longer reach than many others in the region.
They have sleeper cells here in the U.S. in many cities across the country. This has been documented in multiple court cases. And we have reason to believe that they also have caches where they have stored materials around the country in the event that someone hits the go button to start attacks. I believe they are pretty well prepared. They have been sitting in wait for the order to go for many believe for years now.
As official Washington proceeds with caution due to concern about sparking a wider regional conflict, experts like Ledeen warn we're already past that point.
I think that we collectively are in an expanding regional conflict. And as much as we are resisting it right now, and the current administration is responding to it right now, we are in it. We should be reconsidering our strategic objectives. What's our end game here? And how do we get from here to there? Because right now, here's not a good place for the United States to be. It is not in the U.S. interest to be sort of on the defense.
Since the start of the war in Gaza, American troops in the Middle East have been attacked more than 160 times.
We need to be aligning with our partners, the Israelis, the British, and some others, and maybe share some targeting packages and start executing some military operations to make sure that the Iranians, but also our other adversaries who are watching, so that they understand that a red line has been crossed, Americans have been killed, the disruption of global shipping is not something that we are willing to accept, and let's change the dynamic.
Iran remains the common element between all of these players, and Ledeen says the regime has complete control over its proxies. Still, official messaging coming from Iranian leadership following these most recent attacks: we're not after a war with the U.S., but will respond strongly if, quote, an oppressive country or force wants to bully us. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Washington.
Keep in mind what they're saying on the streets, and whether that's in Ramallah or what the Houthis are saying. You know, you look at some of the reports, these mass protests where they're protesting Israel. They're calling Israel a colonizer. They're not recognizing Israel's right to exist. That's the reason the Houthis exist. That's why the reason Hezbollah exists. That's the reason Hamas exists. They have it in their own documents, their founding documents. They want to wipe Israel off the map. And that ideology has completely taken over them. They can't go against that, because in that they would be going against what their parents have taught them, what their grandparents have taught them. They have to adhere to that. We're fighting a war of ideology, and until that ideology changes, we're not going to see peace. You're not going to see a two-state solution, and you're not going to see these terrorists suddenly wake up and say, well, this isn't a way to live. I need to live in peace with my neighbors. That's not going to happen. In the meantime, they're threatening global shipping. They're threatening U.S. bases. They're killing our soldiers. And they've killed dramatically Israeli citizens, innocent civilians who were caught up on October 7th. That is the end result of this ideology. We need to realize when somebody is saying from the river to the sea, what they're saying is October 7 again and again and again on a massive scale until every Jew is killed in Israel. We have to stand with Israel. We have to stand for what is right. And now more than ever, we need to pray that God would intervene. without him, I don't see a progress to peace anytime.